Hello my dear students, good morning to you all. So today we are going to start with chapter 4.3, that is structure and reactivity of carbonyl compounds. So before moving on to the structure and reactivity of carbonyl compounds, it is very much essential to understand what are carbonyl compounds. The compounds containing a carbonyl group, what is meant by a carbonyl group? That is the C double bond O group. So C double bond O group is called as carbonyl compound or carbonyl group, and those compounds which contain this carbonyl group, so they are called as carbonyl compounds. The carbonyl group, that is C double bond O, is probably the most important functional group in organic chemistry. These compounds are an integral part of organic chemistry, and their primary members are called aldehydes and ketones and also carboxylic acids. So as I said in this chapter, so we are concentrated with aldehydes and ketones. So aldehydes and ketones are collectively called as carbonyl compounds. That is because they contain the carbonyl functional group, that is C double bond O group is present in these two, that is aldehydes and ketones. Even carboxylic acids, they contain C double bond O group, but in this chapter we will be studying the structure and reactivity of aldehydes and ketones especially. So a carbonyl group is a functional group featuring a double bond between a carbon atom and an oxygen atom, just like how I have illustrated in this. However, the term carbonyl can also refer to carbon monoxide as the ligand within an organometallic and inorganic compound. Say for example, a metal carbonyl such as nickel carbonyl. So there also we will find carbonyl compounds, whereas so in this carbonyl group is a functional group which is featuring a double bond between a carbon atom and an oxygen atom. So usually these carbonyl compounds can be further divided into organic and inorganic carbonyl compounds. Say for example, carbamates, urea, and also the derivatives of phosphagen, acyl chlorides, chloroformates, carbonate esters, lactones, thioesters, isocyanates and hydroxamates. So these are some of the examples of organic carbonyl compounds. So if you see the general structure of aldehyde and ketones, so aldehydes can be represented as in this form. So here R stands for an alkyl or aryl group. So we know that in organic chemistry, so these organic compounds can be either linear or branched or cyclic and may have functional groups which are attached to it. Alkyl groups and aryl groups are two examples of functional groups. The main difference between alkyl and aryl is that alkyl group has no aromatic ring, whereas aryl group has an aromatic ring. So here R stands for either an alkyl group or an aryl group. In the same way, so ketones can also be represented as in this form. So here also where R and R dash are alkyl or aryl groups. Okay. So this is the structure, general structure of aldehydes and ketones. So when the carbonyl group is linked to an or linked to one alkyl or aryl group and one hydrogen atom, the resulting carbonyl compound is called as an aldehyde. So the general formula of an aldehyde is RCHO. Ketones are carbonyl compounds in which the carbonyl carbon is linked to two alkyl or aryl groups. So this is the difference between aldehydes and ketones. So their chemical formula, that is ketones chemical formula, can be generalized to RC double bond O R dash. Okay. So, in general we come across the names of aldehydes and ketones when we speak about the carbonyl compounds. So, that is why we are going to study about aldehydes and ketones in this chapter. So, what are the properties of carbonyl compounds? Some properties of carbonyl compounds are, so these are to be polar in nature. They exhibit both positive and negative charge in slight form, hence these are said to be polar molecules. These compounds are reported to be insoluble in water, but sometimes they dissolve other forms of polar molecules. These are known to be as chemically reactive compounds. So, that is because the double bond which has been present in between carbon and oxygen, which makes oxygen electronegative atom. So, these compounds, especially the carbonyl compounds, are chemically reactive compounds. It means that, so they control the reactions of a chemical reaction. So, these are some of the properties of carbonyl compounds. Now, let us move on to the structure of carbonyl compound. The carbonyl group, it composed of one strong sigma and one weak pi bond. So, sigma and pi bonds are the two types of covalent bonds that differ in the overlapping of atomic orbitals. So, covalent bonds are formed by the overlapping of atomic orbitals, whereas sigma bonds are a result of the head to head overlapping of atomic orbitals, whereas pi bond are formed by the lateral overlap of two atomic orbitals. So, if we observe this structure or the representation which I am showing here, so here we can observe that, so it is composed of, that is the carbonyl group is composed of one strong sigma and one weak pi bond. Both the carbon and oxygen atoms are sp2 hybridized. See here, so here the carbon and also the oxygen atom, so both are sp2 hybridized. The carbon oxygen sigma bond is formed by the overlap of sp2 hybridized orbital of carbon with the sp2 hybridized orbital of oxygen. So, that is clearly observed here. See, this is the carbon and this is the oxygen, in which so it has been formed by a sigma bond as well as a pi bond. So, here both are sp2 hybridized, and if we observe it, so in this overlap of sp2 hybridized orbital of carbon with sp2 hybridized orbital of oxygen is observed. The carbon oxygen pi bond is formed by the sideways overlap of unhybridized p orbital. So, this is the sideways. So, these two are the p orbitals. So, here the sideways overlap of unhybridized p orbitals of the two atoms is observed. The two unshared electron pairs of oxygen occupy the sp2 hybrid orbitals of oxygen. Since the carbonyl carbon is sp2 hybridized, the three atoms attached to it lie in the same plane and the bond angles between the bonded atoms are 120 degree. So, this is all about the structure of carbonyl group. And next is about nucleophilic addition to carbonyl group, how the nucleophilic addition is going to take place in the organic compounds which contains carbonyl group. The electrons in the pi bond of the carbonyl group are pulled more towards the more electronegative oxygen atom. So, this is the common phenomenon which we observe when an electronegative atoms are present in the compounds on the either side. So, since in carbonyl group there is an oxygen atom, so in the oxygen atom, so the pi bond of the carbonyl groups are pulled more towards the more electronegative oxygen atom. Hence, the bond is polarized with the oxygen atom being slightly negative. Oxygen atom always will carry a negative sign. So, that is because of the more electronegative nature of oxygen atom. So, we can observe slightly negative and the carbon being slightly positive, and this is often indicated in this way. So, here as I said, since the oxygen is more electronegative, so it will have slightly a negative charge on it, and so the intermediate or the reversible of this resonance structure can be written in a polarized way. Since the carbonyl group is planar, it is open to attack both from above and below in a direction perpendicular to the plane of carbonyl group. Hence, it is highly reactive. So, there is a chance of attacking, that is the nucleophile could attack this oxygen atom or the compound which contains this carbonyl group in either side. So, that is they can attack both from above and below in a direction which is perpendicular to the plane of the carbonyl group. So, that is why we say that carbonyl groups are highly reactive. The positively charged carbon is readily attacked by the nucleophiles which are electron rich. Nucleophiles are electron rich. So, that is why, so the carbon can readily react with the nucleophiles. Since these reactions are mostly addition reactions, they are called nucleophilic addition reactions, and they can be represented in this way. So, if we observe this reaction, so here I have taken a carbonyl compound and it is generally called as trigonal. Okay. So, as I said, so here this is double bond, so this carries a negative charge towards the oxygen which makes this carbon a slightly positive. So, when the nucleophile comes in contact with this carbonyl compound, so here we can see a transition state. Okay. So, here this bond also going to get break up and this will make the oxygen to carry a negative charge. Slightly the oxygen will become negative and it makes carbon to attract or attack with this nucleophile, and we are going to get the trigonal will be converted into a tetrahedral structure. And in the next step what happens is, so if the hydrolysis is carried out, so we are going to get the final product. So, in this way the nucleophilic addition reactions of carbonyl compounds may be catalyzed by acids or bases. That means, so the reaction proceeds via with the help of catalysts, either it might be acids or bases. So, this is all about nucleophilic addition to carbonyl group. So, next is relative reactivities of aldehydes and ketones. So, let us compare the reactivity of aldehyde with respect to ketones. So, the carbon atom of the carbonyl group is trigonal and planar. So, in the transition state of nucleophilic addition, it acquires tetrahedral configuration. So, this is what we saw in this reaction. So, this is initially, so it will have a trigonal shape. When the nucleophilic addition reaction completes, so the product what we are going to get, so that will be in a tetrahedral configuration. So, the attached groups are brought closer and this leads to steric hindrance. So, because so when tetrahedral configuration is there, so the carbon will have 4 different substitutions will be present there. So, when it is in a trigonal state, so it will have 3 substitutions, whereas one will be with the double bond, but when it converts or when it changes its configuration into trigonal to tetrahedral, obviously that carbon will possess steric hindrance. Hence, aldehydes are more reactive than ketones. Among ketones, larger the groups R and R dash, the greater is steric hindrance. For example, diisopropyl ketone is less reactive than acetone, and di-tertiary butyl ketone is still less reactive. That means, so as the groups R and R dash in ketones is larger, that is the larger the groups R and R dash, the greater is steric hindrance. The greater reactivity of aliphatic aldehydes can also be explained on the basis of electronic effects. Alkyl groups release electrons and destabilize the transition state by intensifying the negative charge on carbonyl oxygen. Aliphatic aldehydes contain only one alkyl group, whereas aliphatic ketones contains two alkyl groups. Hence, the destabilization of the transition state of a ketone is greater than that of an aldehyde. Therefore, the decreasing order of reactivity of aldehydes and ketones is represented as, so formaldehyde is more reactive than acetaldehyde, and acetaldehyde is more reactive than acetone, and acetone is more reactive than pentone or pentane 3-one. Okay. So, in this way we understand the relative reactivities of aldehydes and ketones. So, I am going to stop it here, and in my next class we will see mechanism of reactions involving hydride shift. Thank you, dear students.